This program is brought to you by Extratech, a leading professional IT training institute, and 3B's Education and Visa Services, a leading Australian education consultancy.
Namaste and welcome to yet another episode of the Influence Academy with myself, Anusha. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm accompanied by Mrs. Regmi. She is a highly versatile and qualified finance professional with CPA qualification. She has about 10 years of experience working as a senior accountant at AXS listed company in Australia. She's currently a chief financial officer and manager at operation at City English College. A quick mention to our sponsors, Extratech, a premier IT job-ready training institute in Australia, and 3B's Education and Visa Services, a leading Australian education consultancy. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, how are you this evening, Anu?
I'm very good. Thank you, Anusha, for having me here today.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my absolute pleasure.
And the conversation that we're going to have today is going to be really interesting.
I hope so.
Because as you are a finance professional, a reputed finance professional,
Yep.
and students in Australia come here to study accounting, right? They are scattered everywhere, vulnerable accounting professionals,
Absolutely.
and they need directions. So I think this video is going to really help them.
Yes,
so-
I come across a lot of them these days, a lot of students, especially when I run a college myself now. I meet these students every single day with, they're looking for direction, they're looking for guidance, they look upward to people like a lot of Nepalese who've been here, established themselves as an accounts professional in different sectors. Like we've got many now, back in the days we could number them in fingers, but it's almost like, it's growing. The population where people have established themselves in a higher position these days have grown so much. And these young students, they look up to these professionals to see how we can get there.
Yeah. And this is what the show is actually about.
Exactly. And so I would like to say it's not difficult. It's not difficult at all, but there is a way. It has to be consistent, and you need to follow your passion. And if accounting is your passion, you need to stay focused and do things that will lead you to get there.
I know, but there aren't any Nepalese people who are in the top of the profession like you, and you're such a role model for everybody. And well, coming back to that, I would like to start our official conversation with a personal question about your journey. Why you chose Inorganic Chemistry as a master's in Nepal?
Okay, well, back then we all have come from the same education system background, and when you are in top of the class, let's say, when you are a couple of students, back then there was ranking. These days it isn't. Okay, so if you are first, second, or third, you were expected to study science. It is a brutal truth. It is, but I have to be perfectly honest.
Of course it's science, but it's inorganic chemistry is a whole another level of science.
I know, but when you, I went to science as with an aspiration to be a doctor, a medicine professional, and then it didn't happen. For various reasons, we can talk about that some other day, or we can talk about that today. And after that, what was next was I had to pursue my career in science itself. So I chose chemistry because I wanted to I looked at people with all these diseases because of water. So, water was so polluted in many places. There wasn't clean, safe drinking water. So I was like, how about I do work in that field and, work on looking at water purification techniques and stuff.
You mostly deal with the researching.
I was, yes. So that was my plan. But then I ended up working as a chemistry teacher in year 11 and 12.
Wow.
So that didn't work. So it hasn't gone in a planned way, like many of us, I think, we plan something.
Researching profession in Nepal is really tough. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, what was this?
It's really tough.
Tough,
I mean,
yes.
tough,
yes.
yeah. So like the pay is low, and there's no government
is.
support for researching, and they flee to another country to get more opportunities, right?
Yes.
So I'm just curious to know that being a science student, a researching student, how could you switch back to something different like accounting?
Okay, all right. So when I came here, we all have that as a youth, like, you know, when you talk about 19-year-old, 20-year-old these days, they've got this dream of getting that passport stamped. That's the, you know, truth of the youth these days. And I was not any different, you know. So the dream was there to fly the jet plane and go somewhere, and may that be any field, you know. And when I was approached by education agent, like consultant back then, they were like, okay, well, if you want to, so she asked me, do you want to live there permanently, or would you like to return back to your own country? And I was like, look, I would like to come back and do something here, but I would also like to explore the possibilities of living there for a few years. So she goes, yes, if I put you in Masters of like a research in chemistry, there might not be possibilities for you to settle there. Like, you know, there were no PR pathways, and it is such a brutal truth this day. And we'll talk about that later, how we could change that perception as well.
It's just fascinating that someone who could be devoted to chemistry, someone who is devoted to science, you come to another country, you change your field entirely.
Yes.
For PR pathways,
exactly.
right? And then again, you found that as a passion, and now you're at the top of your profession. I mean, not many can do that. They would just study accounting for PR.
Yes.
They are not passionate about accounting.
Yes.
Right. They are not passionate about job. They would rather do odd jobs, do masters in accounting, rather do odd jobs, and get PR. But they don't care about accounting. But you are totally different. I mean, that is so like you're like a role model, to be honest.
Okay, well, as I say, a science student, I always had that passion for numbers because, you know, we had to do those physics experiments. So I was always good with numbers. And I came, when I actually worked, not even when I was studying, to be honest, not even when I was studying, when I actually came to the actual work arena, that's when I found, yes, I do have that, you know, acumen for numbers, and yes, I do have that love for developing a business, like, you know, a strategy making and forecasting and kind of thing. And it was, then I realized, okay, I've got that massive potential, you know, I've got that, I could use that, and I was happy, I was doing well. So it was a change, but it was for a good reason. It was absolutely, now I have got, you know, I'm so happy that I did it.
Like, okay, for example, you came here, you did your master's in accounting, and you excelled your master's degree, right? And you've got the opportunity to work as an accountant as well. And you're so good with numbers, like you said. And how did you end up finding a job, like an accounting job?
Okay, well, let's go back to those days when I was still a student. I was working, we all work in odd jobs. I was working in a bistro. You aware of the term? Yes. So bistro, I was working there as at the, like, you know how the people, they hand out buzzers for like if you order a food and then they hand out buzzers. So I was at the it's not even reception, it's like, you know, taking orders, like a waitress, but I didn't have to go outside, so it was just behind the counters.
Okay.
All right. And
Front
then
decks.
Exactly. And then this customer, a regular customer, he used to come to that bistro every Friday evenings, you know, and then he was there, he and his wife, they were regulars to that. And he went like, what do you study? You know, we had a communication, and then he was like, what did you study? So I'm like, I'm doing masters in accounting, I'm studying, I'm a student at UWS. And he goes like, so why are you doing this? I said, look, we all have to pay rent, we all have to, you know, eat. So he handed me his card. He said, okay, this is my card, come to my office next day, speak to my manager. And there it was, it started then. And I was still a student, I still had one more year to finish. Actually, that time I was pregnant with my first son, like, heavily pregnant and working. Maybe that's why he had that sympathy, and he was like, okay, come to my office next day. And and then it started.
So you're heavily pregnant and you're working as a front desk support in a bistro.
Yeah. So he was like, maybe he felt sorry for me, and he was like, oh, this girl, she's working hard, and I should do something for him.
No, I don't think that.
Her.
I think he found something in you, maybe some essence. Maybe he felt that you knew what you're talking about, the way you're saying,
That's
and
possible.
maybe he was like,
she needs
a break, and I need to give it to her.
But that was like, life changing. But
so what happened after that?
Guess what? I was paid I was paid, that time it was big money. It was Sunday afternoon. So Sundays was 2 times and a half. And I told my husband, look, I got this offer, but ridiculously, it's half of what I'm getting paid now. So do you want me to still go there? And he's like, no, you should. So that's another thing, no matter how much you are getting in the job that's not your field, it's worth switching. It is absolutely worth switching. So I was paid, let's say, half of what I was there. And then just to go and sit down and be in front of the computer and do like work in an office environment, my husband was like, no, you're not doing that anymore. Go. So next week, I accepted the role in half of the wages that I was paid.
It's not about the money at all.
I know.
I mean, and the fact that your husband is there to support you.
Yes.
So there's if you're single, it's different. I mean, you have to struggle. You have to save money and that sort of thing. But when you're with your husband, when you're with a partner, he's supporting you. There's no brainer. I mean, what else to lose? I mean, someone is giving you a shot. You have passionate accounting. You just take it.
Yes.
And what happened after that?
And then it was just an accounts. Well, I didn't know when you were a student coming from a different background. I was a science student. Even accounting, I was still learning. Debit, credit, even those things were new to me. So I was struggling. I wasn't, coming out with flying colours until then. So it was my second semester, and I was like still struggling. Should I? I was having second thoughts then. Everyone, because of the background, I didn't have any accounting background. So after that, I started, okay, it is, if you get a chance, you can do it. And then I started excelling as well in the studies. And then after that, I went to another so Nick, my boss back then, the first job he gave me, he was like, okay, you've got to move out of here. It is time for you to move out. So I moved out of that industry into a motor dealership, into a smaller organization. So from there, I moved into, I kept stepping up from accounts clerk, from accounts payable, accounts clerk. So in an organization, I did different type of accounting jobs. So accounting job itself it's got vast, it got different branches, let's say, accounting, it's receivables,
Anu, but
payables.
rewinding to the fact that the guy offered you the meeting, I just wanted to take you back to that. What happened in that meeting? I mean, that was like a first break, right? So
yes.
Exactly, tell me what happened.
Yes, let's go back there. So I went there. His manager was a Brazilian lady back then. She was she had that personality. I got intimidated. Like a young student, everyone would be. Like I'm there with no experience, no experience whatsoever in a corporate industry as an accountant. I didn't even know how to use Australian software. I was just in the country for 9 months, and a pregnant lady. I went there nervous as anything, and she made me, she reassured me like, yes, we all do that. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to help you. All you have to give is your 100% attention. And
Sorry, were you a student back then?
I was student back then. So it is not, I wasn't finished. I didn't have any extra qualifications or anything. I was still a student at the University of Western Sydney. So I went there, and then they gave me a job. I don't know, maybe they felt sorry for me. They liked something. I don't know. God knows. So it is it was a break for me. But then from there, it was my turn to show that I was capable. You know, you might get a job by fluke, or you might have to try hard, but from then onwards, it was my turn to show them I could do it. I had the potential, and, you know, to make them feel that they made the right choice. So yeah, I kept on learning one after the other. So anything I used to do at work, I used to take it home after studies. I Googled, I did, you know, all my research, and I used to I used to learn those softwares. Back then it was MYOB. So in university, they teach you only to the point.
The theoretical concept of MLB.
Exactly. So you don't know how to apply. So I went back home, you know, after work. I used to do YouTube videos.
So the job that they offered used MIOB, and you needed to learn that.
I had to learn that. So there was no way. I either learn, or I got, you know, I had to, they would fire me in 3 months' time. So the point
is, we meet people through networking. This means, like, it's a networking, right? You were doing a job, a customer came, and they shared you a relevant experience.
Yes.
And they were like, okay, I see something in you. Why don't you meet me?
Absolutely. Right? Networking is so important, Anusha. It is very important these days. You know, young people, especially, you know, they go out, and these also the job ready programs, they are very important. And, you know, volunteering doesn't matter. Pay is
internship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, internship and volunteering, just don't think that you're working for free. That goes and adds in your resume.
But the thing is, it's hard for students, especially, and they have these odd jobs. They need to save money for certain reasons, and they just can't give up the job for internship, right? They don't see the bigger picture of their career, and that is what fascinates me with, let's say, Nepalese here in Australia. They are not like doers. What do you want to say for those people who are just lacking? They have that potential, but they are not, they're not showcasing it. They are not trying hard for it, and just they're stuck in their odd jobs, stuck in their saving money.
Yeah.
What would you like to say to those?
You've just mentioned the bigger picture. That's the word. That's the key word. What we are here for. You know, are we here for just meeting ends morning to evenings? Or have we left our family behind, and we're here for a purpose, you know, to make our lives better, to excel our career? So what is my goal next year? Or there has to be goals written down clearly. Do I want to do these odd jobs all my life? Obviously not. Any single person, if you ask, they would say, no, I don't want to, like, you know. But what is your plan to not do that odd job, you know, permanently or for a longer time? So have you written down your goals first, and have you worked towards those goals?
I know it's easier for you to say that because, well, you're good with numbers, right?
Yep.
You have that ambition of yours, like, okay, this is not the odd job that I want to do for this certain period of time. I want to be something, you know, and you just you took the opportunity and you excelled at it. But so for some people, they might be good, but they don't realize their potential yet. They don't know their passion. They don't know what they're good at. They do have, for example, they do pass a master's degree, right? They have that, they can pass master's degree, but they're like, I don't want to be accountant, you know. I can be accountant as a day job. I can do it like a routine job, but there's no passion for it. Or what could we do to those people who are studying or excelling at master's degree, or, you know, but they are not passionate about the job like you are. Like, if you're passionate, you're top of your career, right? So what do we want to say to those accounting individual who passed their master's degree? Okay, they got internship, they're doing, but they are not really up to their account. Now, I studied master's degree, now I have to do accounting. This is it. This is nothing. There is nothing else, and they are stuck. They don't have focus. What would you like to say to those individuals?
Well, accounting is, when you talk about it, I think it's numbers. It's sitting at the screen for long period of time, and it's working with those Excel spreadsheets for hours. It might not be interesting, but if you have studied accounting, and if if people want to do something extra, there are lateral branches of accounting as well. Some fascinating things you could. these days accounting and legal law is open up your own business. If you want to go in other areas, those are like life skills these days. You know, you should be able to at least read a profit and loss statement, like, you know, not read and make sense of it, but, you know, to see where my numbers are going. So accounting, if you don't want to do a desk job, but you still want to be in the accounting job, there are different variations of the role as well. You know, you could be a business analyst if you are passionate about numbers, or you could, you know, study and work as a trainer if talking is your passion. You know, do your education degree on the side, or do your training and assessment and teach accounting if that's your passion, if teaching is your passion. Or you could do, you know, or could use those knowledge. It can be, you can make it as a base knowledge and build up other extra knowledge or other skills on that, and work on those sectors that you can excel on. Or if it's not completely your passion at all, it's not my cup of tea, in that case, I think it's time to move and, you know, look into what interests you, what you can think of, imagine yourself doing for the rest of your life.
But they don't have luxury of doing that in Australia, right? I mean, they need to pay bills, they need to earn money.
Yeah, I know. No one
some
has
cases
the luxury.
they need to support their family back home, you know, and they don't have that luxury to, you know, just stay home, do internship, just, you know, and they spend their whole life here. And they're, I've met some people who like already 30-40 years in here, and they're still doing those jobs. They don't have no, you know, ambitions. They're just doing their job what they're doing for 30 years, and they're settled down. They have a citizen's PR, and they're settled down. They're happy. You know, what about those?
Let's say no one has the luxury. Let's point out one thing: no one who leaves the country. If we had the luxury, we wouldn't leave the country and come here.
Yeah.
Okay, no one has the luxury. Do you have the passion, ambition, and aspiration? That's another story. Okay, anyone can have that passion, ambition, and aspiration. Over here, I think we all, no matter what background we come from, all the Nepalese diaspora or any immigrant, I'd say, is we all come from the same level, and none of, like, you know, no one's different to anyone. And if you have that passion, that ambition, that you know, aspiration to get there, you build on that. It's not about what luxury your family can support from overseas or not. No, you know, we all have to work. You have to burn candles at the both ends and work. You know, maybe you have to work all day and study all night.
That kind of focus is every individual lack.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, focus to, you know, do jobs, but you have that aspiration of doing something else. And I have to do this. I have to do this for a period of time. I have to do this for a certain period of time. They have that, and that people, that focus we lack because we are away from our parents. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're struggling here. We're meeting whole new people, and we're not connecting with our friends, or we're not connecting with you know, our loved ones, and we feel disconnected. And well, this is it. I've done enough. That kind of feeling that you have. What do you think about that?
Feeling disconnected and, you know, feeling socially distant. That's something different. That goes towards a different line. Not having aspirations is completely different. You know, feeling disconnected is. That goes towards the social side of that side of that person's, you know, personality. But having aspirations is completely different. So
but I think having aspiration means you need to have guidance. You need to have mentorship in some way, not with people, but with yourself as well, right?
Yep.
You need to have that aspiration, and that comes when you are supported, when you are loved, you know, when you are alone and you're just all by yourself, and you don't have so much thing to focus around, and you can't have that. I'm just trying to connect the dots between that aspiration and people being lonely and vulnerable here. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what can people do to reduce that impact here? Because we could see students are struggling, you know, postgraduates are struggling because of that, because they don't have that connection. You know, they can't find that aspiration. They can't find where do we look into? What do I do? I'm alone. You know, even if I have somebody, I'm alone. How do we change that?
Okay, well, there are social organizations looking after students in those aspects. Like, you know, we provide, Everest English College also provides corporate English, like, you know, English, those soft skills to, you know, talk in those lunchroom, participate in those lunchroom conversations where, you know, somewhere like, you know, to assimilate in the workplace, talking about a rugby match, let's say, you know, talking about, hey mate, we did a barbie over the weekend, kind of thing. Those soft skills to integrate into workplace, to make friends. So we are working on that, but there are other social organizations as well who volunteer to look after students. So there is help available for those students who feel disconnected. All they have to do is raise their hand and go, yes, I need help. You know, if you don't, you have to realize you feel, okay, I need help. This is where I need to ask. And there are a lot of channels they can go through. First thing is to go through every school, university they go. There is a social counselor, a counselor available every school. Every school we go. So all they have to do is put their hand up and go, yes, I need help with this. I need help with my career pathway. I need help with my mental well-being, my social connection. And there is help available. We are in the country where there is so much help available if all we need to do is put our hand up and ask for it.
Okay, that is amazingly well put. Thank you, Anu. Coming back to this topic of PR perception that you said, people study accounting for the purpose of PR, right? And they struggle a lot. They move to regional, and they don't have any idea what they're gonna do. And these are all for the PR pathways, and they don't have any career ambition. They don't have any aspirations. So, what would you like to say to those individuals to change your perception regarding this PR?
Okay, well, PR, I know it is important. It is not the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is how you live your life according to what is your career plan. You have to have a career plan first. PR is a byproduct. It will follow. It will follow once you do the right things for your career plan. Like, you know, for example, if you want to be, let's say, an accountant, there might not be PR pathways available these days, or there may be limited pathways you might want to go. You might have to go to regional. I'm not a migration consultant or anyone. I can't advise particularly on specific topics, but as a general, so what your focus should be is your passion. You know, what you want to do. What is someone's like, you might want to be a journalist. You know, there might not be a PR pathway at all. You know, altogether, there might not be anything for it. But once you keep going towards your goal, you know, it will follow. PR will follow. But as I said, I'm not, you know, qualified to exactly advise on those topics, you know, so I can't.
I'm just curious.
It's a general.
I'm just curious about people who come here just for PR. I mean, majority of people, they're all focused on PR. I mean, they study accounting like yourself. They have master's degree from this reputed university, top university in Australia, and all they could think about is PR. And all I wanted to ask you is, how do we change that perception for that individual?
That energy is drained. Like, you know, your whole energy is exhausted in, you know, thinking about PR and then you're not even looking, you know, they're not even putting their resume together and they're not even trying to apply for the roles they want. Doesn't matter if you get rejected 10 times, 11th time you might get an interview, and that is just as good. But as you said, it's the whole thing is, you know, devoted, their whole idea, the whole energy is exhausted towards thinking about their PR pathways. You know, so for those individuals, you know, they're trying to look for a job in certain sector, like could be anything. Give it a go. Put your resume together. If you need resume writing help, even libraries have free resume, council libraries, they have free resume writing help available. So or talk to your peers. Everyone knows someone who's been in the industry in today's world. Everyone will know someone. So talk to them, network, and put your energy towards getting a job in that sector, or trying to improve yourself in that sector, and then PR would follow.
Moving on to that PR question
Again,
individuals are struggling to get marks in TOEFL or PT, right?
Yes.
And you've been a qualified trainer for 5 years for PT and TOEFL. And people struggle to meet that eligibility for courses or for migration. They struggle to, they give like 10 times and they couldn't even get the scores, right?
Yeah.
So what would you like to suggest to those individuals who are struggling to get that marks?
Okay. First of all, language is not learned in 2 months. The course is only for 6 weeks. PT or TOEFL or IELTS or whatever you do, language is a learning process. You learn language through everything. So if you make your plan for 2 years' time, you don't wait for that 6 weeks classes. Those classes are there to hone your skills that you already have. So don't waste that time. Don't waste those 2 years you're here in Australia. That's the golden opportunity. Talk to your peers. You go to school, you speak to native speakers. You work somewhere, you find some native speakers. Try to learn this language. You come across a word that's new, go home. Even in dictionary, you've got apps in the phone these days. Download those apps and use those words in practice, in sentence. Go home. If you have no one, you've got a mirror. Speak in front of the mirror. Try to put those words in context and speak. So don't wait for those 6 weeks last classes. That's just there to help you, guide you how the test is like. Use those time, your 2.5, 3 years, how long you've been here for, to learn the language as you go. It is a slow process.
Okay, but like for instance, for PTE, you said you're learning words and practicing in front of mirrors. For PTE, I heard that there's like a cheat sheet, right? So you don't really have to learn anything. There's literally a cheat sheet and you follow it and you pass. I mean, you don't really have to be an English expert or you don't have to have a good grammar for that. You just need to memorize that cheat sheet.
Oh, no.
No?
That is a myth. Okay. There is last minute help for PTE. It's artificial intelligence testing your skills. So it's not human you make a mistake, you go, okay, and then I understand, and I go, okay, she's trying to say this, but she told this.
The reason I'm asking you this question is the majority of people don't give IELTS or don't give TOEFL, they give PTE.
Yeah.
And what they learn is, I've heard is, they have that cheat sheet that they follow, and they don't need to learn anything. They don't need to practice anything, right? So they just need to memorize the sheet and they just give that exam. And I just have to enter these words and that's done. I'm getting 90 on speaking or 90 on writing just by entering those words. I mean, how does that work?
No. You still have to do. Those students who've got 90, they've got a strong command over the language already. That's not true. There are still people who struggle to get even 30. So it's a wide spectrum. There are people from different end of different side of the spectrum. So there are students who already have that ability to communicate well. They've got that wide range of vocabulary they've built from their school days, from their young age, reading books or listening to English music or a podcast or anything. So they built their language over the time. It's not, I agree to you at some extent. PT is artificial intelligence testing your skills.
No, there's cheat sheets available. People learn through that cheat sheet. They don't really practice at all. They have to memorize the cheat sheet and they just pass.
No, that's a myth, Anusha. That's a myth. But I have to say, they have, those people who do excel have some strong background and command of a language already.
Okay, so share us your experience when you trained PT and TOEFL and IELTS students for 5 years. So share us your experience regarding that.
Okay, students come with a different level of English, but their expectation is like, no, I have to get there, and they go, okay, can you guarantee me this? I'm gonna get this score, okay? And I go, look, mate, I can't guarantee. As long as you. Yeah, as long as you try, I can guarantee you certain, but you can get to them to a certain level, but you can't change the whole language learning. It happens over the time. So I go, I'll try my best, but you've got to give in the best. It's just like swimming. You can't learn swimming by watching a YouTube video. You've got to actually go into the pool, and no matter what the instructor says, you're the one to move your arms. You can't. It's not about okay, that institute has promised me this score. I'm going to go there. No, it's not about that. It's how much you learn over time and how much you put into the test as well, into learning.
So what kind of students that you came across in this 5 years?
Different levels, Anusha. Different levels from from people who struggle to put a sentence together to people who sound like native speakers, even if they're not.
Share your experience, you helping one individual score a high marks when that level was literally 0, and you literally trained him or her to the level that she was supposed to get.
Okay, this is about an individual I helped back home, not here. I haven't haven't had a chance. So, what the individual came, I wouldn't name here, came with a level 5 in IELTS back there. So you've yourself done IELTS. So he came with a level 5. It took me at least, I told him, have you got time? The first question was. So the first interview, I give them a placement test first. So what I do is, the first question is, have you got time? And then if you go, yes, okay, then you are the one I can help you with. And then I go, have you got that aspiration? Do you want to put in what it needs? And then when he goes, yes, I take that. So it took me 6 months to get him from level 5 to level 7. Not all each band 7. It was 6.5, but he got 7. All right. But that individual literally religiously did about 2 hours. So let's not go into nitty-gritty of the course here, but he put so much effort into it, more than I did. Like we did it together. It was a teamwork. It is not only the trainer or trainer's job. It is your effort as well. So from level 5, he got his 7, and then he
7. Wow.
Yes,
each band.
But
7?
it took him literally not each band 7, but overall 7. Okay. But each band over 6.5. Everything was 6.5. So it took me 6 months. 6 months. It did. Okay, so
but it is possible.
It is possible. Absolutely possible. It is absolutely possible. It depends on how much both the parties put into. Okay, and where is the seriousness? If the student is not serious, we can't do anything about it.
Well, the reason I'm asking you this question is because the majority of students or individuals in Australia are struggling to get IELTS marks, right? And I want them to learn something from you, because you are a trainer, you are a high achiever yourself in that particular field, and I want them to get that insights from you, like how do I achieve it, how do I do that in that amount of time that I have to achieve it. So hopefully our viewers have got something from you, from your knowledge. Well, moving on, so you are a chief financial officer and manager at operation at Opera City English College, right? So what is your day-to-day job like? I mean, I'm assuming it's a pretty big role, and the title is pretty big role. Title is pretty big.
It's not as scary as the title sounds, but it is a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. So basically, it's more about driving the business. It's more about making strategies, more about making the budget forecasts. Fortunately, I don't have to be involved into the day-to-day operational transactional stuff these days. I've done that. I've done it, and I'm proud of it, that I learned everything from the grassroots level, which gives me that insight of of every role. But fortunately, this is more about strategy making and business development, and it's more about how I use my resources to benefit the business on a top level. So it is more about building the business rather than the transactional level, which it was in my previous work experience. I've done that a lot.
You've worked as an accountant for 10 years, and now you're
14 years 14
now.
years,
yeah. Sorry, 14 years, and more than a decade.
Yeah.
Right, and you've switched into being an entrepreneur. I mean, getting that knowledge, the big knowledge that you had with your whole decade of career, and now you're switching into entrepreneurial side. How's that transition like?
It is not easy. It is not easy. The first couple of years, you've got to, accept everything. You've got to accept the failure. You've got to accept that paycheck coming weekly or fortnightly stops. You've got to live on your savings for a certain time. Or you've got to work on, that, let's say, the regularity of your income for those when you're building that business. I'm talking about that building period. I'm not talking about, So that building period is very uncertain. And for people who cannot take risk, it is very difficult. But that is a very risky period. And you've got to put, it's very stressful as well.
Apart from the stress, you already honed your skill and are using that skill to build something, and you must enjoy it, right?
Of course,
being an entrepreneur is enjoying yourself, and as you talk about building business strategies and so on for your business, that means you need to enjoy that.
Absolutely,
right?
I enjoy every day is a new challenge. So I wake up every day, in the morning. I go, yes, this is a day I need to achieve something. I need to, be better than what I was yesterday. It is about, so every day is a new day, and new problems come up that you need solutions for. You need to make decisions. Decision making is different every day.
But then again, we see that there's so many education centers operating in Australia, right? I mean, there's so many colleges, so many universities, and the business development that you talked about. What are the key differences, unique aspects of your business development that you have, which is different from others, let's say competitors or others, other education centers?
Okay, we are more learner-centric. We are more student-focused. We work, everyone does, but I'm telling, what we do better than, or what we do our best is we look after the students for their best interest, not for their short term.
You make them ready for life?
We try, of course. That is our main goal. We train them for, to face the challenges. That's our goal.
Like you mentioned, colleges they usually provide like theoretical knowledge, right? They don't make ready for life. Like yourself, you got master's degree, but you did internship, you went somewhere, you learned MIOB in a computer, and you excelled it, right? So do you have that sort of programs in your college that you?
We do have a corporate English skill program that is the soft skills of the accountant. We are building another program that makes job ready, like it's a job ready program to help you learn the softwares like Xero, MYOB, QuickBooks, and then resume writing, and how do you communication, simple, we don't even know how to properly communicate in the email. So those skills, we put it together. That is being developed, but at the moment we are running corporate personality development and corporate English classes.
Wow. Well, thank you. That was beautifully put. That is what I wanted to hear, and hopefully our viewers will, have some insights regarding that comment. So moving on, and this will be my final question for you, Anu. This is the question that I ask to every one of my guests. So, what are the 3 things that you'd change in your life if you have a second chance?
Oh, okay. When I think about, I don't have 3 things. I think I would change, because when I was growing up, a young girl, I was very good at sports. I could sing not well, I wouldn't say, but if I had given an opportunity, I could have had singing not as a career, but singing as a hobby. So, and also I was very good at designing. Like I designed my own clothes back then as well. So I had an idea. I would never buy clothes off. No, I wouldn't say never, but usually I would buy my own fabric, and I wanted my clothes to customize myself. I used to go to a tailor and go like, look, I want this, do this. So I would, focus on these hobbies, which I left because of the various things. I mean, we don't want to go there, but because of I was like more focused, study. So if you have a hobby, I would like suggest, or myself even, I would give some more time to those hobbies. I could have become, not in a career way, but my hobbies would have been somewhere. I can't play any sport now. I can, but I was very good.
Singing.
Sports, I was very good at sports. I was good at swimming and singing, and I was good at my fashion designing. So I was, good at those three things, which I didn't pursue, which I couldn't pursue at all because I was too focused in studies. Okay, so if I had a chance, I would pick one of those at least.
Okay, from our conversation, I have the knowledge that you have excelled in inorganic chemistry, which is one of a kind, and you've excelled in accountancy.
Yeah,
you can excel in fashion designing.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you have a really good voice. From your voice, you can be a singer.
No, I could have been as a hobby. I could have done that if I had trained more. Do you know what I mean? So
nothing is stopping you. I mean, what's stopping you? You can be a designer still, and you can still be a singer, right? You can upload YouTube videos making covers. Nothing is stopping you. I mean, the way you're telling me is like life happened, and I couldn't pursue my hobbies.
Yeah.
But then again, life happened, and you excelled in that life too. You excelled in accountancy, you excelled in teaching, you excelled in inorganic chemistry, and what I'm saying is you can still do the stuff.
Well, I would have done it better when if I had started when I was like, a 10-year-old girl.
But you can still do it. You still have the same voice. What I mean to say, and you can still design clothes, right? You wear clothes every day. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let's see where we go.
Okay.
It's never too late to do anything, actually. Okay. It is never too late.
Anu, would you like to say some few words to our viewers that we might have missed in our conversation?
I think we covered a lot. It's about to the young students, follow your passion, follow your whatever your aspirations are. They will shape you. It is not about how much you earn and how long you do your jobs. It is about where do you want to be in 10 years' time from now.
On that note, thank you for coming to our studio, Anu. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you for making time for a sort of busy schedule and sharing your expertise with us. I mean, it's such an honor to have you here. And our viewers, maybe especially accounting students, must have grabbed some insights. And as you can see that, wow, she has reached some level that I want to reach someday. And I want our viewers to have that kind of aspirations or get influence from our guests, and you are one of example, and thank you for providing us that opportunity to share an audience with us.
Thank you for having me, Anusha. It's absolutely my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
thank
likewise.
you.
On that note, I would like to end tonight's episode, and I'll be back next week with more influential stories. So until then, stay influenced, take care, and thank you for watching Everest TV.